All right, buckle up, Buttercup, because last episode we talked about the illusion, the shining towers, the advanced civilization, the belief that Cybertron had evolved beyond collapse. But every civilization has a basement, and Cybertron's basement was Kaon. Deep beneath the glowing cities and polished propaganda, there were gladiator pits. Not justice, not law, pure entertainment. Bots ripping each other apart while crowds cheered from above like violence was just another sporting event. Cybertron called itself civilized while feeding on brutality for fun because history has shown us something very uncomfortable. The more advanced a society becomes, the better it gets at hiding its cruelty behind the spectacle. And in those pits, one bot began to rise above everyone else. Megatron. But he wasn't a conqueror just yet. At this point, he was still becoming something. He was still forming. He was still learning. And in many versions of the lore, Megatron began as a miner, a labor-class bot built to serve. One of those countless workers buried beneath Cybertron's hierarchy. But Kaon changed him. Because the pits didn't just teach survival. They taught power. They also taught fear. They taught what people respond to. Violence turned into language. And Megatron became fluent. Fight after fight, victory after victory, his reputation spread throughout Cybertron's lower sectors. But it wasn't just because he was strong. It was because he spoke. And that's what made him dangerous. See, most gladiators fought to survive. But Megatron, he fought with purpose. He started questioning everything. Why are some Transformers born into privilege while others were built into suffering? Why did the ruling class preach order while entire districts rotted beneath them? Why was obedience treated like virtue while questioning authority was treated like rebellion? And those ideas begin to spread faster than the Senate realized, because people can survive suffering for a very long time. What they can't survive is realizing that suffering was intentional. And suddenly, Megatron wasn't just a fighter anymore. He was becoming a movement. The bots started listening to him. Workers, laborers, miners, forgotten sectors of Cybertron that had spent millions of years being ignored. And for the first time, someone was saying out loud what they had all been thinking. That maybe the system wasn't failing. Maybe it was functioning exactly as it was designed to be. The idea changes everything, because once people stop believing that the system protects them, they stop defending it. Now, meanwhile, Cybertron's leadership still thought that they were in control. That's always how collapsing systems believe. They mistake silence for stability. They think because the towers are still standing, the foundation isn't already cracking underneath. And Megatron, he starts changing. At first, his anger feels justified, understandable even. But anger has a strange way of evolving when it goes unchecked. The more resistance he faced, the harsher he became. The more the system ignored him, the more extreme his solutions started sounding. And this right here is where the tragedy begins, because revolutions rarely stay pure. They start with hope, and then pressure turns hope into rage. And rage eventually starts convincing itself that mercy is weakness. Megatron was not born a tyrant. Cybertron helped build one. That's what makes this story so fascinating as adults, because you start realizing that the Decepticons didn't begin as cartoon villains. They begin as the unheard, the discarded, the bots buried underneath a system that only cared about maintaining itself. And somewhere else on Cybertron, another bot was watching this all happen. Optimus Prime, now still Orion Pax at this point, still believing that the system could be repaired instead of destroyed, still believing justice could exist without revenge. And that difference between them, that's the spark before the explosion. Because Megatron believed that power changes systems. Orion Pax believed that truth changes systems. And history has shown us over and over again those two philosophies eventually collide. By the end of this episode, Cybertron still hasn't fully fallen into war, but the line has been drawn. The lower classes are angry. The ruling class is afraid, and Megatron is no longer just a gladiator. He has become a symbol